Welcome to my Constant Contact newsletter tutorial. Here I'm going to be showing you how to send emails on Constant Contact, and if you'd like to follow along with me, you can click the link in the description or the pinned comment to do so for free. Let's begin. So there are a couple of important details that I want to quickly go over before we start sending those newsletters. First and foremost, what you want to do is go down to the bottom, click on the three dots, and then simply click on Account Settings. So in order to actually send newsletters and emails, you're going to want to make sure that you update your business details. So when you arrive on this page, simply click on the edit button right here. Alright, so as showcased here, here's going to be your business name, your default from name when you send emails, and this is going to be where you add your address. This is important because you won't be able to send out any emails without doing this. You can use your address, you can always get a PO box or a virtual mailbox, anything related to that. But once you are done there, make sure you put this important information in and then simply click on the save button at the bottom right of the screen right here. Alright, so from then on out, what you want to do is go to the contact section, and what I'm going to do is click on lists. So very quickly, once again, if you're going to be sending out emails and you need to add your contacts, this is going to be where you can do it. You can always create a new list if needed by going right here, and you can do that, add it and save it. I'm just going to use the one that they give you when you get up and running. So if you did want to add any contacts, alright, so this is going to be where you can upload your list. For example, if you were coming from a different autoresponder, this could be a CSV, a text, you can upload your files. If you only have a few, you can put them right here. I'm going to add mine specifically. Make sure that you select this specific list. If you created a new one, you could add it to that and then do import. Alright, and just like that, we are done with that specific section, and if I reload it, you're going to see that we now have 2 contacts. Alright, perfect. A whopping 100% growth. So I just wanted to get those aspects out of it because importantly, obviously you need contacts when you're going to be sending an email, and more importantly, you need your address, okay, when you're sending out those mails. So what we want to do next is hover over the marketing channels. If it's not open, simply click right there and click on email. Now that we've gone on with some of the mundane details, this is going to be the aspect where we can go about and create it very straightforward to do. So let's click on create an email, and look at this, with an average ROI of $36 for every $1 spent. That is from 2022. Probably has changed a little bit, but still ROI can be fantastic when you do things right. Alright, so this is going to be the section where we can choose a template, and ironically enough, I love using blank templates. I will tell you why momentarily, but if you did want to personalize it and add your brand, you can do that. Then there's going to be these specific templates on the bottom if you want to go by specific sections, say like a newsletter. The reason I don't like using a lot of templates is because they have a ton of pictures on them. The more pictures you use, the higher probability that your emails are going to be sent to the sin bin, aka the spam box. That's why I love the blank templates. They're very easy to use. It's just a text, just a link, maybe a button here and two, and the call to action is going to be pretty much right in front of their face, and I'll show you when we do it. See what I mean, okay? So if you want to use a template, feel free. I'm going to show you how to start from blank. We can always customize and add things to your specific email anyway. Alright, so we have our campaign name, and we can change this. Let's say I was going to be creating an email that talks about a YouTube video where I just, did a review on this. So this is just going to be so you know what it's all about. This is not your subject line or anything similar to that. Okay, so let's click on save. That's just going to be right there where you can always see it. So this is going to be the blocks. This is the drag and drop editor. There's text, images, buttons, shares, spacers, dividers. There's going to be a little bit more in case you want to be fancy with it. All right, the capital H, and then you continue on with the words, like a featured article. So you can be as specific or spiffy as you want. Me personally, I'm all about the text box. It's already here, but if you wanted to add anything else like images, which we talked about previously, I'm not big on having a lot of images. In fact, I'd probably just use 0, maybe a logo, but that's still like not really needed unless you want to go heavy on your brand. You can delete it once you add it there. And of course, now that we have our text, something to keep in mind is that when you highlight it, you're probably going to want to move it over. So if we do this, we can move it on over to the left, and it does look a little bit better that way. Now what I'm going to do is just quickly get an email put together so you don't have to watch me actually write it using ChatGPT. I will be right back when I am done with the email. Alright, so here's the email that it came up with. I'm not going to go through and make sure everything is 100% perfect, as this is just an example, but I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to simply paste it in. Okay, and once again, it did happen to go to the left. That's fine. I can do Control A to highlight all of this. And once again, let's just move it to the left. I think it looks better that way. So ever been excited to check out a new software only to realize it feels like assembling IKEA furniture without instructions? That is quite annoying, I do have to say. Yeah, Thrivecart could have gone that route, but it didn't. It's this, it's that. And what I like doing anytime there's like short and choppy sentences, I like making these into bullets. If you want to see how to do that, you can go right here. We can do the same thing a couple of times. I just think it makes it stick out and be a little bit more digestible. There's no long paragraphs. The sentences are pretty short and choppy. We can make this a link. And because you deserve it, catch you in the comments. Okay, everything looks fine here. Now, if you wanted to add a link, let me show you how. Very easy. Let's highlight it. Let's click on the link right here. And what we want to do is click on web page right here at the top. All right, and so I'm not going to actually go and get the specific review. I'm just going to put YouTube here, but this is going to be the link where you want it to go. So I'm going to do insert. Okay, so that is going to be that. Pretty straightforward. That's going to be a lot of the design aspects. I believe this is going to be like a highlighter here. So if there's anything funny or like that you really want to, I don't know why I said funny, interesting, you know, that you really want to pop out, you can do something like that as well. And that's going to be when it comes to creating an email, right? So anything else that we want to add, let's say it's going to be a button. What we want to do is drag and drop. And you're going to notice in the spots that we can drag it, it kind of highlights as being pinkish purple there. So let's put it right here. And what we can do is click on it. And we're going to be repeating the process, add a link, web page right here. I'm going to do YouTube again, and like we could do click to watch, which I've done previously. Let's do insert. And of course, I am all about Marketing Island. Let's get a little bit more tropical. So I'm going to go quickly with green if we wanted to change that. If you want to add a border, you can do that. Once again, the color, I think black makes it pop a little bit more. I think 1 is fine there. I'm not going to go crazy with the aesthetics, but you can change it around by kind of toggling those if needed. That's going to be a button there. Once again, anything else, drag and drop. Probably don't need to go through all of these. You know, it's more about, hey, do I want to add a 2-column section? You can do that if needed. And of course, if you don't want it, simply click on the delete button. And of course, the delete one once again. Okay. And the last thing, we have our subject line, which you can see right here. I like this because when you're actually writing your email, you can change the subject line within. And a lot of times it makes sense to write the email first, knowing that you have some ideas to use for your subject line, as opposed to doing your subject line and kind of being boxed into talking specifically about what you've created. That's just going to be my tip here. So let's click right here in the email settings section. All right, so this is going to be our subject line. And I also like that whenever you edit it, it's going to showcase right here what it looks like. So I just put Thrivecart worth it, ? And then we have a pre-header. As it says, think of it as a subtitle for your subject line. In other words, it's a little bit more. A lot of times you can use curiosity or just kind of be an extra or in addition to your subject line. So I put Thrivecart worth it and then or just another overhyped cart. Or it could be something like, you're going to really want to see this. Or maybe if it's something that expires soon, make sure it actually does expire soon, like expires within 24 hours to add some urgency, some scarcity. Really, it's up to you. But in addition to the subject line is what I like doing there, unless you have something better to put. Be creative with it if you want, you know, use a little bit of curiosity, and I think it'll be perfectly fine there. So that's going to be your subject line and your pre-header. I recommend doing those after you create your email, just so you have more to work with. And last but not least, make sure that you click on the save button right here when you are done with this section. All right, so we have saved that. We have created our email. We made it look a little bit more readable. We added some highlights, a link, a button if needed, and anything else is simply drag and drop. We have our subject line. We have saved it. If you wanted to preview it, you can do it right here, although it is going to be shown in the next section when we go to send it out. And I usually like that whenever you test it, how everything is going to be above the fold. That's important. So this is going to be the link where if they opened it, they can see this and they have the ability to tap on their phone to look at it. Same thing with desktop. This isn't going to be a mile-long email where you have to scroll down 10 times just to get to the link. Everything is smack dab right in front of them. It's above the fold, in other words. Okay, so let's click on continue right here. We are just about done. All right, so once again, you'll notice that we have the visual here for desktop. And if you're wondering why this is not here, it's just because it's cutting off in this small screen. You're going to see that there is a border around it. And once again, we have our mobile one as well. So you can send now, which is probably what you're going to want to do. You can schedule for later if you have an upgraded account, and you can also send a test email. Make sure you're going to the proper recipients here. We have my contacts. That's why I talked about that previously, that if you wanted to add more, this is going to be where they end up showing up. If you haven't verified your email, the email that you use to sign up for Constant Contact, you would simply just go to your inbox, click a link, and just like that, it's verified. physical address. That's why we did that first, remember? Because if you don't have that here, you're going to need to do that to be able to send emails. And last but not least, these are just going to be the settings we talked about previously with the subject line and the pre-header. And last but not least, all you need to do, my friend, is simply click on send now and you are going to be good to go. And that is going to conclude this Constant Contact newsletter tutorial. I hope you got some value out of this, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up as it helps me out a ton. And if you haven't gotten to test out Constant Contact, you can click the link in the description or the pinned comment to get started for free today. My name is James. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy.